Not to brag, everybody, but I have a friend who met Ravager from Transformers.
I hate math.
Oh, I thought there was more. Hey, where's my intro? Hey.
Oh man, I'm sorry for that. Welcome to the Council of Nerds.
The Council of Nerds.
Welcome.
Oh.
I thought there was gonna be more to yours, Brian.
I stared at you for like 20 seconds. I'm like, you were literally the guy who you talked about Puffs Kleenexes for 2 weeks in a row. And I can't say I hate math. Like, that's such a hard hurdle for you.
I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
I thought you
guys
said
are
meth.
both frozen. I hate math. It's the worst.
No,
I thought you said
So
meth.
expensive.
meth is gross. In reference to Logan's intro, I am that friend who met Ravager from Transformers.
Sort of.
And it's not in the way that you think. It was a crazy homeless person who first said that he was going to do explicitly inappropriate things to my friend's wife, going to rob us, and then he said, "I'm Ravager from Transformers," and yeah, then he left.
Because that's what hobos do.
And then the
He
next
just walked
time I was
away.
hanging out, with that group of people, I was like, "Guys, we met Ravager from Transformers." I'm still starstruck, and we all had a good laugh about it.
Wow.
So there's that. Welcome to the Council of Nerds. That is us. That is we. We are he and we are they. You can find us anywhere. You can find a podcast. Basically, we're pretty much everywhere. Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Podbean,
Can't
Anchor.
escape.
We're also on the YouTube, as the older folks say. And if you listen to us on a podcast service, just go ahead and hop over to YouTube, give us a view on there, comment, like the video to help us reach out to more people. We also have a social media presence on Instagram and a Discord. Link to that Discord is in our Instagram bio. So go ahead and check that out. But welcome. We're going to continue moseying down this road on Avatar. I'm going to try not to make a complete fool of myself this time around.
That was fun.
But we are... I don't remember what chapters they are, but this is the next 3 episodes.
Chapter 7, 8, and 9.
Perfect.
Oh, why is 6 afraid of 7?
You forget the joke?
Why?
Because 7, 8, 9.
Did you deliver? Did you forget it halfway through?
Cut out that part
that
that Brian's talking. Cut him out.
I'm the editor, and I shall not cut that out.
Random cool fun fact for me: Utah, the state that I reside in, decided that some of the local theaters wants to show Lord of the Rings in theaters again. So I got to see Fellowship this weekend, and I don't think I'm gonna do Two Towers because I just watched that recently. But I do want to see Return of the King. Pretty bad. It's only gonna go for the next week or so, but I'm excited. It should be fun.
That's interesting. I
Maybe
actually
extended ones.
They are not. It's just the normal cuts.
Theatrical cuts. I remember seeing the first one in theaters. I was like 5. And I remember I saw all 3 in theaters, but for some reason I don't remember seeing the second one, even though I know I did. But I definitely saw the third one in theaters. I remember when we saw it, there was this, I probably saw it a few times, and one of the times we saw it, there was this like middle-aged man sitting in front of us. There was like no one in the theater really, and he started crying at the end, and me and my friends started laughing. And I kind of feel bad about it now, but it's kind of funny to think about.
I cry at the end of that movie every single time.
Yeah, like I don't,
You heard
but
it
like
here first,
I
folks.
could, like it's very emotional.
It doesn't take much for me to cry in a movie, though. Like it's a genetic thing. My dad does it. My grandma does it. Like everybody on that
Nerd.
side of my family is that way. Yeah. See, the only movie I remember seeing in theaters is the third one, and the reason is because when we were there back in the day, kids that are listening to this podcast used to have to get in line to get a seat, and so we were waiting in this super long line in the biggest theater in our town in California, and this guy showed up with his LARP gear,
Oh, that's
and had
awesome.
like foam swords and shields. And so me and my two brothers are just beating the heck out of each other off in this like little lawn patch next to the line. And the whole line is just like cheering some of us on. Just like it was so funny. I would have laughed if someone started putting money on it. Like it would have been a great experience. But that's why I remember that one is just beating the heck out of my brothers with
That's
foam
funny.
equipment. Regardless, Lord of the Rings is great. If you haven't seen it and you happen to live in Utah, take the opportunity and go. If you haven't otherwise, buy it, watch it, and it'll make your life better.
Mhm.
But yeah, on
Avatar.
to the subject at hand. So
Avatar.
we're gonna do things a little bit differently this time around. A little bit less of a synopsis of the show and more of a highlight format. So, Logan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So the out of the episodes we're doing today, chapter 7 is called The Spirit World, and then in parentheses, Winter Solstice Part 1, end parentheses. So in this episode, I'm gonna give a quick synopsis, just really quick though. Basically, Aang, Katara, Sokka, Appa, and Momo, they go to like this random burnt forest, and they're all sad, blah, blah, blah. And then this like guy finds them, and he's like, "Oh, you're the Avatar. We need your help." And then they go back to the village, and then apparently this like spirit has been like terrorizing their little village. And Aang's like, "Well, I'm the Avatar. I'm the bridge of the gap to the spirit world or whatever." Um, and he helps them, but it turns out so Aang like basically goes to the spirit world, but he gets contacted by Avatar Roku, who tells him, "Hey, you need to go to this." Basically, it's an Avatar Roku temple on Crescent Isle in the Fire Nation to talk to me, and I'll teach you something. That's a super quick synopsis of the episode. Now, favorite parts. I actually really like this episode. I hate the spirit world. I think it's boring. I understand its importance, but I just think it's boring. But this episode is cool to me because it
Do you hear that, spirits? You're boring. You
You're
heard it here first.
boring and scary. Some of them are scary. Like that
Some
one.
spooky Halloween going on. Yeah.
Yeah, and the one who like takes faces or whatever. Yeah, but this episode, I think my favorite part is everything that goes on with Uncle Iroh. like, like
Uncle
Yeah.
Iroh is the best.
he's the
period.
king. Like at the basically for people who haven't seen it or just are lame, Uncle Iroh is just like chilling in some hot pools, and Zuko's like, "Uncle Iroh, like, come on, dude, like we gotta go." And he's like, "I'm just relaxing in the hot pools." And he's like, "They're self-heated," and then he's like, "Iroh, come on," and then he's like, "Fine." He like gets up and he's naked, and Zuko's like, "All right, you can have like 10 more minutes." But Iroh gets like captured by some Earthbender guys, and just everything.
Earth Kingdom.
The whole arc with Uncle Iroh is probably my favorite moment in this
I
episode.
do like that part because it kind of gives you a glimpse into more about Uncle Iroh as well.
Yeah.
Because as they're carting him away, he says, "So where are you taking me?" Like he's just having conversation. Like he's just totally just chatting them. He doesn't care. He's super relaxed the whole time. They're like, "We're going to the city that you laid siege to for 600 days
Yeah.
and it never fell." And he goes, "Ah, the great city of Ba Sing Se." And it kind of gives you a glimpse into Iroh more in terms of this guy really was like a pretty high up Fire Nation general. And again, you don't know much at this point, but it's just you're getting little pieces and more things are clicking together
I
about who Uncle Iroh is.
I also I've seen the show like probably 5 times, like the whole series, maybe more. But this time when I watched this episode, I noticed something that I'd never really noticed before that I was like, huh. And I don't, I mean, they kind of do, but they don't really expand on it too much. And it's when Uncle Iroh's captured and he's like in handcuffs or whatever on the back of that bird horse thing, as Sokka calls it.
Mm-hmm.
He and Aang's like with the spirit dragon, Roku's dragon spirit, and it like flies over them, and Uncle Iroh sees it. And I thought that was really interesting because like no one else saw it. So it kind of shows you like how in tune with the spirit world Iroh is. And like I said, I mean they kind of do, but they don't really explain that very much cuz they kind of make it seem like the only people who can really kind of be involved with the spirit world like that is like the Avatar. So, I mean, I'm not saying Iroh's an Avatar, but I'm just saying it is interesting.
No, I feel like it has to do with like you're saying, like an enlightenment, because he's all about centering your chi and meditation and all of that. So I think that there's I would say like the sages in
Mm.
the fire temple that you see in the next episode, they definitely, at least in a really rudimentary, I would say maybe the older sages that have passed on and not these guys, but I think that they in some regard have had communication with the spirit world. And I think it might take a lot of work, but I think the Avatar, like you said, is naturally imbued with being the bridge and just
Yeah.
has like an easier time about it. But I wonder if it's kind of just like this a thing you can study. That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was
Thought.
interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Dan, do you have a favorite part of this episode?
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh, the other Dan.
Sorry, boys. My Wi-Fi was not having fun, and so I caught about every fifth word through that. But I think episode 6. I remember as a kid, this wasn't one of my favorite ones.
7.
I never really liked it too much. I think my favorite part was I think you guys talked about it, Uncle Iroh, and I thought it was cool that we got to see like another display of his power because we don't really see too much of his fire bending. I
That's
think
true.
in the past we've seen him deflect Zhao's bolt of fire, but aside from that, he hasn't really done much. So this is the first time where you see him do a little bit of fire bending, from his nose onto the cuffs, and then I think he does some from his feet to launch him down the hill too.
Yeah.
So
That part's cool.
I think that's my favorite part is everything about Uncle Iroh.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, especially when he's all chained up and he still can get firebending out of his feet. Like
Yeah.
Dan was talking about, it's like all of bending. It's very much about like certain movements, being able to achieve those kind of things. And apparently, he must have been trained in how to continue firebending even when constrained, because he's able to launch a pretty sizable blast of fire just out of the bottoms of his feet. That's kind of, I agree that it's yeah, and I don't think he really thought he was gonna get away, but like I think he's trying to delay them until he can get rescued.
Cause trouble.
But it was kind of funny just watching him roll. And he like rolls off the side of the cliff, and then it was kind of cool to see the Earthbenders like surfing their way down the side.
Oh
of,
yeah.
that was cool.
I love
But,
Earthbenders.
Yeah.
He did leave his flip flop. I remember there's that
Yeah.
scene. He saw his flip flop left behind when they got back, and he did a little smile to himself.
His stinky flip flop.
Yeah.
Stanky flip flop. That was my nickname in high school.
Cool.
Yo, stinky flip flop. Where you going
What
for
up,
lunch?
boy?
Why is flip flop
I
so
told-
stanky?
I told you guys, my name is Brian.
I'm Brian. I like the
Hey,
Kings.
how did it? This was just supposed to be funny, and now it's just turning into like make fun of Brian again.
Just-
like, good grief, guys.
Just because I didn't know the Avatar's name from Kyoshi Island doesn't mean you have to call me Stinky Flip Flop forever.
Why can't you guys call me the
I'm not
Wayne
having-
Gretzky fan?
I'm
that'd be
not
cool.
having fun anymore.
My gamer tag is Ricka Het Randy.
Stop! It is. It's beautiful. Everyone just. So I'm gonna talk about my favorite part.
Yeah,
'cause
sorry.
I'm.
Man, those
unless
guys were
Dan has more.
those guys talking were jerks, man. That's
Yeah, I don't know who those guys were. They
I
just
know.
came in and-
messed up.
Did you
Pirates.
have you ever
Podcast
noticed that
pirates.
I changed your name on Discord, Brian?
Yeah, I did. So, within this episode, um, I I think we've kind of we've really kind of covered the whole episode. Again, I don't really like the spirit world either. I think it's kind of cheesy. Um, but I guess at the end he's able to save the day. And I guess like what's kind of interesting is just like how much hope like the Avatar does bring even to like a small village. Like he's able to accomplish like what they asked him to and like save their village and whatnot. And they clearly don't have like a lot, right? They don't seem like a very wealthy village. But at the end, and I mean, Taka's kind of doesn't go about it in the nicest way. Like, what can we do for you? He's like, you can give us food and money. That would be dope. And like, and he's not even like coy about it at all. He's just straight up like, God, we need food and money.
Well, that's when Katara is like Sokka, and he's like, "What? We need
He's
it."
like, he's like, we need things. Like that's how he
Gotta
puts it.
have
And you're like,
things.
that's true. But they don't even hesitate. Like the villagers don't skip a beat. They're like, we'll give you anything we can.
Yeah.
And that's just it's cool because like I think everyone besides the Fire Nation and even a few people within the Fire Nation that we see in the next episode are kind of just sick of the Fire Nation, right?
Yeah.
So they're ready and willing to help the Avatar in any way that they can to, you know, contribute towards that effort. So that was cool to see. But
Yeah. Dan kind of mentioned it, but there is that really cool fight scene with Iroh. So in the end, Zuko rescues Iroh. Zuko shows up to rescue him, and him and Iroh team up and they fight the Earthbenders. Super cool fight scene. I think it's super cool, mainly because like the part the Earthbenders are like give up, you're outnumbered, and then Iroh's like, yes, we are, but you are clearly outmatched. And I was like,
and he
oh,
just
man. Dude, he like barely even fire bends right there. He actually uses like the chains on him to fight more than he fire bends, and then Zuko kicks butt too. I thought it was cool.
It's kind of crazy that Zuko just like goes in and like roundhouse kicks the chain with the back of his heel and breaks it. I'm like,
so hurt so
hold
bad.
on, can I learn how to do that? Like, like you just shattered metal.
They always show off like kicking wood in half, but man, I want to kick a chain and just break it. That's the dream.
Be off the chain.
Off the chain.
Well, I think that just about covers
that episode.
Episode 7.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Great episode, this guy.
I think it does a lot in terms of understanding more about the Avatar's role and things like that. But I find a lot of that aspect of the Avatar's role not as engaging as the whole learning how to do all the bending.
Yeah. The action.
So we get to episode 8.
Is called Avatar Roku, and then in parentheses, Winter Solstice Part 2. End parentheses.
Thank you, Logan.
You're welcome.
And the one big takeaway, I'll give a brief synopsis real quick. So, Aang gets the brief vision of what he sees as a comet, and he sees the statue of Avatar Roku on this island, Crescent Island, and he's told that he needs to get there by the end of the winter solstice, which is that day. And so they travel there, and it's this whole hullabaloo of trying to get into this specific chamber while evading the fire sages that are inside the temple. And there's a lot of little moments of trickery and things that they end up achieving it. Aang is able to talk with Roku, and he talks to him about Sozin's comet, which was a comet that came around 100 years ago, and that's what kicked off the war. Fire Lord Sozin, who was the Fire Lord before Ozai, during this comet, the firebenders are extraordinarily powerful. And Avatar Roku says that if they were able to use it again, you would see a power that even the Avatar wouldn't be able to fix. Like, even the Avatar wouldn't be able to fix this issue. And so he gets tasked with mastering all 4 elements and defeating the Fire Lord before that comet shows up, which is at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a big deal in terms of like the storyline and how it pushes everybody forward. But yeah, I would say the thing that stands out to me is, does anyone else think it's crazy that they just get to the Fire Nation in like a few hours?
Dude,
No.
Appa's fast.
That's true.
Also, to be fair, it was, I mean, it was just an island that's like owned by
Right.
the Fire Nation. So I mean, like, you could be like, I don't know, back in the day when the Brits had like the Caribbean, you could be like, hey, let's go to England, and then you go to like Jamaica, and you're like, okay, well, this doesn't count as England, but all right. That was a really dumb
That's
explanation, but
wow, what a
That was
what a
good.
way to
That was
just
good.
summarize
I-
that. That
well
was
thought
really
out.
good. Are you British? Wow, that's really cool.
I watched Pirates of the
Uh,
Caribbean last night, so I just thought, maybe it'd play in.
I
It
couldn't
ties
tell.
So that part kind of, I guess it makes sense. It's fine, but it just kind of always bothered me that they get there like it's at the end of today, but then the rest of the show it takes them like 18 million years to get anywhere.
Yeah,
Um,
it's true.
I know that's not true because he only has like a few months to actually do all of it. But I do. Anytime this show incorporates Avatar Roku, I find it very, very interesting and cool. Like I think
Same.
Avatar Roku as a character is really interesting and really, really great character, and so I really just like that they're able to communicate. And I love the first thing he says was, "What took you so long?" Like
Yeah.
that's the first thing that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And like if you like, he's been waiting for 100 years,
Roku's a bro.
for this. Yeah,
He
he's
really
got
is.
like Appa is Aang's animal companion, right? So that each avatar has an animal companion. This guy had a dragon, like
Yeah.
so cool.
Dragon.
Like, like Appa's great, and I love him, and I'd love to give him a big old hug and cuddle him. But a dragon, like, and a Chinese dragon, like the super long,
Dude,
like snake-like body kind of
Yeah.
dragon,
I honestly, like,
super cool.
I was thinking about it when I watched this episode too. I was thinking, like, because I mean, we don't know too many avatars like in previously to Aang being Avatar.
Yeah, like the one from Kyoshi Island.
Yeah,
I
that
can't
one.
remember
I
her
can't.
name.
I can never remember her name.
Korra.
But
I
like,
think it's
Yeah,
Korra.
that's it.
but like, I always wonder.
Giant koi.
Because so Korra had as much I don't like Korra, but I think her like animal companion's cool. It's like a giant bear dog thing. It's really it's like a polar bear dog, right? It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I think it's a polar dog or something. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool. I like it.
and she can like ride it, and it's big and it's really fast and stuff. It's cool. Aang has the sky bison. Roku had the dragon. But I want to know. I honestly want a list of like all the avatars and their animal companions, because there's for people who don't know, in this show, animals aren't normal, obviously, but like actually it's in a future episode, but like there's a part where the king of Omashu has a pet bear, and they're like, just a bear, like not a platypus bear, and they're like, it just says bear, and then they're like,
Normal bear.
and like they just keep like saying all these different mixes of animals that are with a bear, and he's like, it just says bear, like I don't know, it's weird, and they're like, man, this place is weird. But yeah, so they have like a moose lion, the lion turtle, like they have all these different funny animals, and so I think it'd be really cool to like see all the animal companions of these avatars, because they're always cool. I mean, like we said, the dragon's obviously super cool, but so is Appa.
Yeah.
Like a sky bison is cool. But I agree.
That's true.
I agree with you, Brian. Anytime Roku is put in this show at all, I love it. Roku is super cool. He's got a really, really, I think, underrated like backstory. And in future episodes they kind of, they go into it quite a bit. Obviously it skips forward in time to save time in an episode, but I would love to learn more. I wish they made like books or just more shows of this realm, this world, this universe.
I think
Like, they
have
did
an
a whole
Avatar
show
Kyoshi
about
book.
Uncle Iroh.
They do have a Kyoshi book. Would you say, Brian?
if they did like a whole backstory to like Iroh,
Oh man.
and I'm not well, not to get into it, but like he's got a crazy story. Like
Yeah.
he's got a crazy story to be as vague as possible.
And we
And
probably only know half of it. Like we don't know his
right,
adolescence and his teenage life, his young adult,
but I want to know like one. He seems that he's older than his brother, Ozai.
Yes.
Right? Does he not come off as
Yeah.
older to you?
He really
No, he's
No,
the
he
older
is.
brother.
He is. Yeah, he is.
Do
He
we
should be
like,
the
and this might
Fire
be
Lord.
answered in a later, and maybe I just don't know, but do we know why he's not the Fire Lord?
Yeah.
Yeah, his defeat of
they-
Ba Sing Se.
Yeah, they talk about it. It's the bossing say thing.
Gotcha. Because their dad was still alive during that siege.
Yeah, that
and he hadn't
episode
passed on yet.
that I don't remember what season it is, but it's the episode where Zuko's having like a bunch of flashbacks from when he was a kid about his mom and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's in season 2.
Really, for anyone who has still not started, who's listening to this and hasn't started watching this show, do yourself a favor and do it. Because just talking about this right now, just Logan mentioning that, I got chills because I remember the story. Like I'm now continuing to remember more about the story,
Dude.
and it's just like it's a very compelling storyline across the whole
Yeah.
show. But again, to be vague, I would love to see the journey of Iroh and how he got to where he is eventually in the show. But I'd also like the Siege of Ba Sing Se would be a super interesting thing to learn more about. But also I think it'd be really interesting if they did like a what if show. It's like, what if Iroh was the Fire Lord? Like would
Dude,
things be different?
that's
Like,
crazy. I was just thinking yesterday, when I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, so the part at the end of Pirates of the Caribbean where Jack takes like a coin and then he turns into a skeleton, and then what's her name, Keira Knightley and
Spoilers.
Legolas were like, oh yeah, spoilers, and Legolas were like, whose side is he on or whatever. And I was like thinking, I was like, I wish they made movies as like alternate universe sort of movies where like what normally happens doesn't happen. So like I was like, for example, in this, what would happen if Jack did actually join Barbossa? Like I want to see that story continue. Or Star Wars, like the Empire wins, Luke joins the dark side, like all that Legends sort of stuff. I think that'd be cool. Just to
what if
like
stuff.
yeah, I love that what if stuff, but they don't do that anymore. They just take old movies and remake them into live action and then ruin them. So yeah,
Oof, got him.
Yeet.
But yeah, I don't know if you guys other things you want to talk about with this episode.
Yeah.
I guess one other thing that I did like, and I'll move on after this real quick. But the one, so they get to the temple and the fire sages are there, and there's the one sage that helps them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's really cool because he's like, my first responsibility is to the Avatar, not to my nation. Like that's not how this works. Like you're the Avatar. It's my job to serve you. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. That's my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated that there were still those people around. Like there's probably not a lot of them, but there's still those people that are like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
So
I
that was cool.
I was actually going to mention that part. That's one of my favorite parts. Because I think there's like, I don't know how many fire sages there are. I think they show like 5 of them or something like that.
They need 5 to open the door, I think.
Right. Yeah. And then one of them, like Brian said, is like he's a good guy. I mean, he's like, I am loyal to the Avatar. That's first and foremost. And I think that's really cool because that's like, it's kind of relatable in many aspects of the world, especially these days. It's like it wasn't popular for that dude to be loyal to the Avatar. I mean, this guy's in the Fire Nation. He's a fire sage, guarding the temple of Roku or whatever you want to call it. And he knows all his companions there are like loyal to the Fire Lord, and he is like, nah, Roku was an Avatar. I'm loyal to the Avatar. My grandpa was loyal to the Avatar. I thought that was cool. I don't know. I really like that. My other favorite part is so like for also like they get to the fire temple and they're like, oh, we can't get into this. They have to get into a certain room so Aang can talk to Roku, but it's locked. like Brian said, they need 5 sages to open fire. Well, not sages, but 5 firebenders to open the door. And so they try to, and they fail, but they try and trick the fire sages, and Momo's in there. Like Momo could fit in like the under the door, and so he was like using his shadow or whatever. And they're like, "Look, he's inside." And I just thought that was funny because Momo's a gem. Got to be protected forever.
Momo needs to be protected at all costs.
I refuse to believe that Momo ever dies. I think he's an eternal animal.
He's immortal.
He's the reincarnation of Monk Gyatso.
Dude, that's a good theory, actually.
I know. I read it once and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm just gonna believe it at this point. But yeah,
It's the truth.
Yeah.
My truth.
Dan, do you have a favorite part in this episode?
Oh yeah, my favorite part. Wait, is that this? It's when Avatar Roku takes over Aang's body and comes out. It's all like firebending and everyone's
Yeah.
like,
That part is super cool.
That's how I was when I first saw it. It came out in what year did it? 2005. I was 10 years old. It's 10-year-old Dan. It's firebending.
So
That's what I was like.
So my favorite part about you making that noise is that it's only your mic is like only picking up parts of it. So it's like
Really?
it's like gaps of like I think
gotta
that's
turn
funny.
my noise
I think your
suppression
mic-
off.
your mic's like, nope, we're not gonna let him make that
No,
noise.
not today, Dan. You already spit on me at
That
the
does not
beginning of
need
the
to be your
episode.
permanent record.
Your
Bad
mic.
mic. Dirty mic.
Whoa.
So Zuko and we said that at the same time. That was cool.
That was cool.
So Zuko and Iroh, no, Iroh doesn't show up, but Zuko, because is he a general yet? Commander Zhao, general. He's still general. General Zhao, and Zuko are like they see Aang going to the
Admiral?
temple. I don't know.
So, Zhao. Yeah.
That Lucius Malfoy and Rufio show up to Ruko's temple. Roku's temple.
Ruko.
To watch Netflix on Avatar Roku's TV. And
That's so embarrassing. He said Ruko. We can totally forget about the Kyoshi thing now, right?
I missed it.
whatever, Swarly.
Swarly. Hey, Swarls.
Is it a Swalls?
Barkley.
Is it a Swalls Barkley?
How I Met Your Mother reference.
Last call
show,
for
go watch
Swarls.
I'm gonna watch that after this. That's what I'm gonna do. How I
Great
Met Your
show.
Mother.
Here's
This
actually
one goes out to our friend Schwarley. Your friends know who you are and they love you.
it's on Netflix, and here's a sad note: they took that '70s
It's on
show
Netflix?
off of Netflix. That makes me pretty sad. So
I never got into it.
we bought it.
How I Met Your Mother is on Hulu.
It's also on Netflix now. Both.
When did they put that back on Netflix?
Los dos. Recently.
Probably when they got rid of The Office.
Probably, actually, yeah.
What? I watched it on Netflix forever.
Yeah,
and
I
then
did
it was
too.
gone for a long time.
Yeah. You know what? I lost my place on what I was going to talk
Let's go to
about.
the next episode.
But yeah, let's just go to the next episode. Next episode's
9.
but to close off those 2 episodes, because they're 2 parts, those are really important episodes to the story. In the end, like Brian had said earlier, Aang learns that he has to master these elements before Sozin's comet comes. He has to beat the Fire Lord. So that's really important to push like their main quest, basically. I really like these episodes. They're not like, well, okay. I like the second one. I like part 2. Part 1's
Part dos.
it's decent. This next episode is called, what is it? Chapter 9. Yeah. Chapter 9, The Waterbending Scroll. It's a lot lighter of an episode. Definitely a filler type episode. Yeah.
I think it's cool. I mean, we can get into it, but you do see
Oh,
Aang
yeah.
do waterbending for the first time.
True, that's true. So super quick synopsis. Aang Aang's like, I need to master all the elements, and he's like, well, let's just start with water. And he's like, Katara, you can teach me. And I always thought this part was dumb because she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't think of that. And it's like, how did you not think of that? Like, how stupid are you? Like, you could at least get him started on water bending.
Early Avatar Katara was the worst. I hated her
And
so much.
early, middle, and late Katara is the worst. I just don't like Katara. She has her
Wait, when
moments.
is good?
She has her
No,
like
she's especially
moments.
bad in the beginning.
Yeah, she is. She does like have her moments though, where like I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool. Like what she did there, and it is cool to see her like
Bloodbender Katara is cool.
that is cool. Her development is really cool. Like to see her progress as a waterbender is actually really cool. I just don't like her. I like her hair loopies. Those are cool.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the loops.
I should grow my hair out and
Dan's
get hair
gonna get the
loopies.
loopies next.
Yeah, after I shave off my mullet, I'm
gonna-
getting the loopies.
Attach the back of your
No,
no,
stop copying.
no, dude.
Attach the mullet.
Attach the back of your mullet up to the front of your mullet. That'd be cool.
I got it. Okay.
You gotta start that.
Dan has a mullet. If anyone cared to know.
Yeah, in case you hadn't picked it up, I do have a mullet, yes.
It's not long. It's not much, but it's honest work.
It's true.
It's pretty.
Getting there.
You should throw some like super greasy gel in it just to see how nasty you can get it.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm gonna perm it once it gets longer. I'm gonna get a
Oh,
perm so
no.
it's nice and curly.
Oh no.
Just get some bear grease.
Oh
and just,
no.
like,
Gross.
Ladies, I'll get that petroleum jelly that I used to use.
All right. Anyway, let's go on to this episode.
do it.
Oh, it's so they go to this place
Moving
to
on.
learn firebending, and then they're like, oh, so Aang like learns firebending, and he's like already way better than Katara because Katara sucks. And
Do you mean waterbending?
Waterbending.
what did I say?
Firebending.
Firebending.
Sorry.
Katara's a firebender. Yeah.
Dan.
I was
Yeah.
Okay, well, while Logan's incapacitated.
that was just like really
Um,
mean, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to help Brian. He's still hurt over
Trying
the
to make me
Avatar
feel
Kyoshi
better.
thing.
Stop. We don't talk about it anymore.
Stop. Anyway,
The Avatar Ruko thing now. Okay?
Ruko. All right, take it away. Somebody else talk.
Yeah, so they find themselves in a town to buy supplies. I think you probably already covered this in some regard, but they find a scroll on a pirate ship.
Yeah.
And Tara decides she's going to steal it, which is not very nice to do. But she says it's not stealing if you steal from pirates, which like isn't true, but I understand the principle.
Get
it? Fair enough. So I'm a little lost, but fair enough.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, yeah, but she starts to teach Aang some waterbending, and because, she's the Avatar,
He's the Avatar.
he's the Avatar.
There you go.
He just catches on super quickly and does better than Katara does, and she gets super upset about it and cries. Doesn't cry. She just is upset and mad and doesn't want to be Aang's friend anymore.
Whoa.
Which
You forgot one of the most important parts. Sokka has to floss Appa's toes.
yeah, it's true.
He's got to get the
And
gunk.
there's that
Like, well,
parrot
you guys,
bird.
you guys play in
bugs.
the water over here. I'm gonna clean Appa's feet.
Yeah.
Yep, mud and bugs. It's like,
All right.
okay, and he just takes it and leaves.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so that's a whole thing. The pirates get mad, and now they're on the hunt for, or I guess these people to get their water scroll back. Zuko and Iroh show up at the docks because Iroh lost his White Lotus tile for his Pai Sho game,
Yeah.
and according to Uncle Iroh, the White Lotus tile is a very underrated piece to the game, but for his specific strategy to win in Pai Sho, he needs his White Lotus tile. So he wants to shop there to see if anyone has an extra one that he can buy for his Pai Sho game. And then
I love Uncle Iroh.
and then they meet they overhear the pirate saying, "Oh, we lost the little bald monk and his friends," and Zuko's like, "Oh, like take me, like let's go find him." So they like team up, and then they go there and they start fighting, and then Sokka's like, "You're really gonna hand over the Avatar for a scroll?" I'm like, bro, that's not good business. And
The worst
And then
trade
all
deal.
hell breaks loose.
yeah, and then they all start fighting.
Oh.
What else?
They were all kung fu fighting.
I mean, in the end, the good guys get away.
Fast as lightning.
I have two favorite parts. They're very quick and they're both funny. One, during all the fighting, is like a big dust cloud.
Oh yeah, dude.
Sokka's like, "Aang, where are you?" And Aang's like, "I'm right here." He's like, "Where?" And he uses airbending to like push the dust away. And he looks around and it's all the pirates and firebenders. He's like, and he like brings the dust back around him. So he's like, just come over here.
No, no, he's like, never mind, I'll find you.
Yeah. And then
part.
my all-time favorite moment in this episode is the very end
Oh yeah.
when Uncle Iroh goes, "Zuko, guess what? My white lotus tile was up my sleeve the whole time." And he makes this like smile and it looks super derpy and it's super funny. And I think he says like, he's like, "Zuko, you're gonna get a real kick out of this." Like he says that before he says it, and Zuko's just pissed.
But
like,
it's
he's so mad.
That part's hilarious because he does like a little like chuckle, like a hesitant chuckle when he's like, "Zuko, you're gonna get a real kick out of this. My white lotus tile was in my sleeve the whole time." Oh man, Iroh, they just
So
need an
funny.
Iroh show. I can't believe they haven't done that.
Iroh's the goat.
He's so good. He's the
True hero of the Avatar series.
yeah. I don't know if I really have. I guess I like those parts a lot. I do. Those parts are really funny. I like the Sokka flossing Appa's toes part. I guess I do actually think it's kind of funny when Aang. So when they're on the ship, the pirate ship, and they're like browsing for stuff, and then they find the scroll. He's like, "Unless you have like 100 gold pieces, you're not getting this scroll or whatever." And then Aang's like, "Katara, I know how to work with these guys. They like to haggle." And then he's like, "What do you say to 2 silver pieces?" And then like the guy's like, "No."
It says
And then
copper. It's
or
not
copper.
even silver.
You're right,
It's
copper.
pieces.
Copper pieces.
And then he's like, "All right, what do you say to 3 copper pieces?" And then the guy's like, "Get out of here, man." And then he leaves. I just think that part's funny.
Like it's not as funny the second time. Please,
Yeah.
you need to leave now
and
before I
then-
kill you, basically.
And then they leave, and then Katara has stolen the scroll, and then that guy's like, "Hey, get back here!" And then Aang's like, "I see. I told you they'd come around." Like he thinks they like want it. Like that's funny, but
He's like, I know how to speak their language.
yeah, I know pirates. But yeah,
That's how Dan treats any inescapable, inevitably horrible situation. I told you I had this handled, and
You
it's
guys-
horribly wrong.
I knew it'd all turn out all right. Yeah.
I knew I could finish that test.
Oh, tests. Thank you. What's the
Thanks, Obama.
okay? It's not what I was going for at all.
I think that's a How I Met Your Mother quote too. I think they
Is it
say that
really?
at one point in the How I Met Your Mother, and it's really funny.
I think it's a quote from a lot of things.
Obama said it.
I was watching iCarly the other day because it's on Netflix. Super funny show, by the way. And
Oof.
like post-credit thing, she was like, "Why won't Obama return my phone call?" And I thought that was funny. Anyway, Brian,
Wow.
Dan,
You
do you,
covered so many topics today.
So you watched Pirates of the Caribbean and iCarly?
iCarly's funny.
And don't
It is.
don't forget the How I Met Your Mother references that were thrown in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Good grief.
Dan,
We are
favorite part?
eclectic.
Dan,
Wait,
Dan, favorite
Sorry,
part?
you guys both said things. My favorite part, I think at the end, I think doesn't Zuko like take Iroh's lotus tile and like chuck it and it bounces off the pirate captain's head?
Yeah, he does. Forgot about that.
That's my favorite part. I always love when they do that because they always get hit and they're like, boom, and then they look around.
It's so dumb. It's a classic move.
Yep.
There is like in the first episode we talked about, Sokka throws his boomerang at the spirit that's like breaking up the village, and it goes and it's like going and it hits him in the butt and he goes boink, like makes like this like spring noise, and it makes me laugh every time. Just little things like that where it's like,
doesn't he do like
he's trying to be so like,
doesn't he do like the double hand like bub rub, like bub? It's hard to say. Butt rub. Like he's like, oh, after he gets hit in the
I
butt
don't
by his
know.
boomerang.
I think it's just anytime anything like it's supposed to be this like super awesome moment, and it's just like doink, like it just like it just makes me laugh.
This is okay. Honestly, this show, man, I love this show so much. It never gets old to me.
It's pretty decent, guys. I gotta be honest.
It's like kind of a big deal.
Could you imagine like going your whole life not wanting to watch it because you don't like anime?
Dude, anime's
That'd be
stupid.
silly.
I just felt like I did like a Gimli laugh right there. It was like,
You did.
Dan, go Naruto run to Area 51. I hate anime. Anyway, I think this is a good spot to.
So good.
I think this is a good spot to end it. The next 3 episodes are Jet. Oh man, Jet. That's a fun episode. I just don't like Jet. Chapter 11 is The Great Divide.
Best episode.
Not the best episode.
The episode that was always on Nickelodeon.
And then
anytime you turned on
every
the
single
show,
time.
Chapter 12
Every
is The Storm, and that's actually a really good episode. I really like that episode a lot. And the episode. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, thank you for listening. Okay. Thank you for listening to this episode.
How does Dan keep getting invited back? I just don't understand.
Because I'm an admin on the Discord.
That's true.
His face is on the logo. We can't do anything about it, man.
It's too late.
Find a look-alike.
I'm an institution.
Anyway, so yeah, thank you for listening. Like we said at the beginning, all our episodes are on the podcast places, Spotify. You know, I just learned Anchor is owned by Spotify. So it's on Anchor, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts. We are also on the YouTubes. You can please head over there and like the episode and comment on it. It just kind of helps push the episode around the interwebs.
Comment who of the 3 of us is your favorite. There you go.
And I know I'm not going to be your favorite, so just between those 2. Yeah, sure. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, that was
actually that's Logan trying to get the pity vote. That's all it is.
Playing
no pity vote.
I'm a ginger. Please make me feel better about myself.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Look, Dan has a mullet. Brian got to meet Ravager from Transformers, and I have red hair. Yeah. It's just not fair. Also, go and tell your friends. Go and tell your friends about our podcast. If they like anything nerdy, please tell them. Tell your local hobo about our podcast, because I'm sure they like nerdy things too. We'll catch you on the next episode next week, talking about those 3 episodes. Any last words, boys? Any last words, punks?
Stay gold.
Catch you on the flippity flop.
All right, you heard that. Thank you so much, and meh.
What are you like? Freaking.
You made me snort so hard I had to blow my nose.
The Council of Nerds.